So, a concept I've been sitting with lately is I have frozen friends in time where they have done something wrong. And I have just recently realized that I have frozen people in the space of, they did something wrong and they're in this time, and I've never really let go or forgiven that time. Therefore, I haven't given the space for these people to evolve or grow in this lifetime in my life. And just recently, I sat with that idea, and I've been writing letters to my friends back to that space of when they did that. And I've sat and wrote them a letter and kind of forgiving them for that space, now wondering who they are today. And so I've been inviting myself to release the grudges, release the anger of these times, and let go and really forgiven them for that. And very excited to actually get to meet these friends today, who they are, what they've done. It's been years. I've been thinking of one friend in particular who I had that falling out with because of something they did. And they were actually a very, very close friend of mine. We did a lot of things together. We had a lot of similarities, and I could see ourselves growing together. And it wasn't fair to freeze them in that moment. Uh, Now, I have released that moment out of my heart and my body, and I'm so excited to see who they are today. So this is an invitation to perhaps notice where you have frozen people in time, no matter what they've done, and let go of that moment and allow these people to grow with you. What have they done in the last year, months, days, weeks? Who are they now? How have they grown? Because you've grown, I've grown, so have they, giving them an opportunity to actually grow with you. And I'm talking about not, there are bigger moments. I'm talking about small moments of messing up or doing something wrong. Often it's an opportunity for us to see something within ourselves and look at that. And maybe that was something within you that you had to let go of. And then once you let go of it, can you forgive them?
So, how do you know though? How do you know whether or not to, how can you move forward if they haven't changed though?
Well, are you keeping them frozen in that space? Right. So is that like your idea of them not changing? Because we are constantly changing as people. So is it you and your perception of them not changing because then you're keeping them frozen in time?
So with forgiveness, how do you accept when somebody has done you wrong? How, how do you get into that energy of forgiveness?
Hmm. Well, you have to look at also your part in it too, right? Because you created this person, you created this space, you created the situation for you to grow. Now we're freezing them, not forgiving them, not letting it go. And now it's our work to do to see why we called that situation in. And most often it's a space and an energy that we have to look at for ourselves first and foremost, depending on what we have in our internal composition of ourselves, right? So we call that situation in to look at something deeper in us, whether it's our parents' relationships, whether it's our siblings, our family, our grandparents, or, I'm talking about a friend, but, maybe the friend did something that reminded you of something that your dad or your mom did. And now it's that person no longer exists because you're mad at them. So, and release that person. And then what is it in you that you have to forgive? Or what is it in you that you have to look at for that person to be forgiven. Now, you can go back to that person and forgive them, and then they want nothing to do with you because you were mad at them in the first place. But that's a whole other story. It's happened to me for sure, but now it's actually looking at something else. So you can choose to forgive them. They have changed. You have changed. The times are different. Days have passed, weeks have passed, months have passed. Their life doesn't look the same, neither does yours. It's your choice to forgive them. And by means of forgiving them, you're forgiving yourself. And by forgiving yourself, you're forgiving them. And by forgiving them, you're forgiving the deeper issue of what you're holding on to, which probably you have absolutely no idea what it is. And so it's looking at, what is it?
So in a sense, it's like a letting go too, a letting go of anger.
Yeah. And anger is usually masked by, or anger is a mask of sadness. So there's a deep sadness in you. What are you longing for? What sort of relationship do you want? Not just to that person, but that person is a microcosm of your macro, and they're a part of you. What relationship do you want to yourself? What are they showing you about you that you need to look at? And letting go of the anger and also expressing the anger. We need to talk about the relationship of ourselves with anger, because most of us are walking life fearing expressing anger because we've been taught not to show the anger. What does your own relationship to anger look like? I know mine is in the works. When we actually let go of our anger, there's sadness behind it. There's an energy of sadness, but it's so important to release and express your anger. It's so important. I cannot say it enough. Actually, for those people listening to this now, grab a pillow and let go. I feel it right now for myself, like rah, rah, punch the pillow, let go, have a relationship with your anger. It's the fire. It's what creates. It's the energy of creation.
So do you think by having a relationship with your anger, or simply doing the practices, I guess, to let it go, screaming into a pillow, the somatics, could it be that easy to just let it go?
It's a process. It's layers. We got to look at it layers. It's not necessarily one off. You scream into the pillow and then you let it go. We also have to look at the fact that we carry this ancestrally, collectively, societally, planetarily. We might be holding the anger of our mothers, fathers, siblings, grandparents, grandfathers, partners, husbands, wives, children. And so our anger is their anger is our anger. How do we release that? How do we, continue expressing the anger? Because when we express our anger, we're expressing our anger for so many people too. When we tell our story, we're telling our story for so many people too. So when we share, we're giving voice to those that haven't had a voice or haven't had the opportunity to express. If we're angry at our parents, showcasing the anger might give the voice of anger to your mom who hasn't had the opportunity to express it for so long. You just never know who you're expressing your anger from and to and out. It's giving it a place. And you're giving it a place for yourself, for your family, for your community, for the world, for those that can't express it.
So I guess essentially then transmuting that anger, moving through the anger, is kind of what getting you to that place of acceptance to get to forgiveness.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So if somatically and in our body, somatically is a big word. We'll talk about it in some other episode. But in our body, we carry all these emotions. We carry joy, we carry anger, we carry sadness, we carry all of these different bottled up emotions. The energy of anger towards somebody, the energy of forgiveness towards somebody, that is living in our body. Where do you feel it usually? I mean, sometimes I'm feeling it right now in my throat. I feel it in my back. oof, oof. Right? I feel it. I don't know. I could be picking something up from somebody right now and I could feel it, right? And so feeling it in your body and then just letting that anger kind of come into those places perhaps you haven't really felt before, and then tuning into why you're carrying that, for who, as well as for yourself, right? And then just letting it go and hit it, scream, scream, let it go, shake it out, move it, and then from that space, seeing what comes because you're no longer holding it in your body, right? You're no longer holding in your throat or in your back. If you release it, then maybe potentially there's a space where you can actually release that anger for that situation. And then you can unfreeze that person from that moment that you've frozen them into. And maybe there's compassion and a space to have a conversation. And from that conversation, there's space to giving them an opportunity to grow. Maybe they're 2 years older now. Those 2 years have taught them something. Those 2 years have taught me something. Who are they now? Who are you now? Is there a possibility of reconnecting?
And if there is no possibility of reconnecting due to our own boundaries, how does that work out?
Trust me, I've been in this story for 2 years now. And you just send them love and compassion. That's all there is. If you've done your work, that's all you have. And I know many people are in that situation right now, and it's unfortunate. Imagine a world where we could just connect to one another and have that conversation and choose to forgive and live happily ever after. But I do know that this situation actually exists more often than not. So if there's no opportunity to reconnect and you want to reconnect, which, plenty of thereof, again, what part of you needs that acceptance? What part of you needs to be loved, held, embraced? I just recently felt into that inner child that needed just that hug and that compassion and that embrace, and like, you're accepted, you are loved, you are cared for. I love you. I accept you. I care for you. And often that's the release and the acceptance of letting go of that person if that person's not willing to look at you or have a conversation with you. And then suddenly they start disappearing because you have bigger things to do and bigger opportunities, and you're in new relationships and you have new friends and you have forgiven yourself for whatever you did that that person is not willing to look at you for. And who's the bigger person now? I'm not saying it's bigger or better, but they can live in that frozen time and they can live in that frozen moment. And yet you get to grow and expand and continue, and you send them love. They showed you something. Thank you. There's no bigger energy than that of gratitude. Thank you for showing me what I needed to still heal. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for showing me the lessons that you gave me. And thank you for being who you are in my life. And here we are today. You have chosen to stay in your story. You have chosen to stay in your anger. You have chosen to stay in your sadness. And I choose to forgive you and love you and send you light and compassion. And I send myself light, compassion, love. And I move on because life is too short to hold grudges, and life is too short to hold anger, and life is too short to hold situations that are a leak of energy, really. You have too many things to do, and you get to live your life fully as you in this beautiful world.
So when it is a case of a parent or a sibling or someone who you're with for life, how do you, knowing that maybe they won't necessarily change as you're saying, or maybe they haven't changed in the way that you expect it, is there a way to, because you get re-triggered, right? Mm-hmm. What about getting re-triggered?
Yeah, it's a journey. I mean, everything I'm saying now is not going to take you 2 days. Unfortunately, fortunately, we gotta honor time and space for everything, and it depends on what these people did, and it depends what you did, and yeah, it's not, and you can get re-triggered over and over and over, and the loop is just big, and it's and it depends. I mean, family is a whole other place. Again, you chose your family, believe it or not. You chose who to come into this life with. Why you chose it, your soul needed to experience part of it. It's part of what your soul decided that they needed to experience for whatever reason it is. There are certain cultures that believe in karma. We've done it, we've gone it done too. Who knows? I don't know what the truth of this. This is a bigger space. But if you chose this for your soul's evolution, and the triggering continues, then it's part of forgiving yourself. And then again, forgiving yourself is really learning the lessons that you came here to learn, right? So I'm talking about a fight. Let's say the fight happens and then somebody shuts you down and like, I don't want to ever talk to you again. I don't need you in my life. Shut down. And this is a sibling or this is a parent or whatever this is, and you never talk to them again. Your soul chose to experience that for some reason. And now, what do you do with that? You can't, as you say, you can't push them away. And they're forever your family. They're forever your brother. They're forever your sibling. So what work do you do internally so that this doesn't trigger you anymore? What is it triggering and why? Where does it hurt in your body? That body has high intelligence. Feel into it. What is it telling you? Is it your throat? What are you not communicating? Not to them, to you. How are you not being honest with yourself? How are you not being honest with those around you? What are you not expressing that you need to express? And then maybe by shifting you and shifting parts of yourself, they're going to start changing because nothing's fixed. Our only constant is change. So when you change, somebody else's changes, and then they change, and somebody else's change, and that's part of the membrane of that holds us all together. And by you doing your work and by you healing you're healing the other, especially in your family. I know that in my 18 years of exploration of the self, I've broken many, many, many ancestral patterns that I carried for a long time. So I know that by healing me, I'm helping heal the generations forward and healing the generations back. They may never talk to you again, but that's in their consciousness, so you need to have that in your consciousness that you've done everything you could. So thank you. back to unfreezing the image. And I hope this is an invitation for you to look at the relationships in your life. Where have you frozen people in time? Letting go of grudges, forgiving, opening your heart, having the hard conversations, and particularly having the conversations with self. Where have you grown, and allowing them to grow and potentially bringing them back. Or if not, there's space for new people to come. So thank you, and we'll see you soon.